The Science of Neglect. It was an inspiring article written by 4 psychologists of the University of Harvard. Hi, it's Milka here I have 2 channels. One is Kids Arts and Craft to build up emotional intelligence, and the other, which I'm going to talk today, is the channel called Empower Parents to Raise Strong Emotional Children. And today I'm talking from my heart that childhood neglection impacts your life all the way long and also impacts your parenting style. Have you been a neglected child? I was, and impacted me for a while until I realized I am not my parents, especially my mother. I am not my mother, and I can't raise my children in a very better way. So you have first to forgive yourself that you have been in that situation when so many children were more privileged. And then you have to forgive your parents. And as you know, forgiveness is a two-way street, but it doesn't matter. Forgive them first and let it happen if they will forgive or not. But it's very interesting to know that when you have the trauma or a traumatic childhood, this is going to impact in decisions making, in how to build relationships, how find partnerships, and how to raise your children. I'll give you an example. I was living at that time in Germany. I had my little girl, Tamara, and she was 2.5 years old. I was very witty. She was very energetic. We used to go very often to playgrounds, which in German is called Spielplatz. And I made friends with, she was not a single mama. She was pretty alone, and her husband was always away, traveling, the same as at the time my husband. And she was obsessive with the child's security, and she had a boy the same age of my daughter, and they used to play together. And in the end, I asked her, how was your childhood? Because she did not let the child touch anything. She was always running to see what was happened. She was overprotective extremely. And then in the end, I found out that she was an adopted child, and her childhood was not better at all, even if she hoped that she would probably find better parents, but she didn't. Her childhood was very traumatic. Like myself, there is a difference between being abandoned and being neglected. Abandoned was her case, and then she went into a family who neglected her very much. I felt really like a mirror, because every time she was talking about her childhood, I would remind my childhood too. Well, I don't remember everything, but unfortunately, the things that I didn't like it, I remember very much. Well, I remember that my dad was in a city called São Paulo, working to upgrade his, he was a doctor, and he was doing a course, he was attending sort of seminars for viral epidemic disease. And at the time, we live in a small apartment. This is, I remember very much, and these little chairs that I used to sit with my brother. Well, from one day to another, even I did not even remember how, I end up in an old house, smelly, old, and with this lady that I did not remember or met before. It was my grandmother, the mother of my mother. And she was also exactly like my mom, distant, very into herself things, quiet, silent, selfish, narcissistic, talking a lot to other people, but to the youngest ones like me, my cousin, who at the time was also abandoned with a neglecting mother, he was my only friend. So this is, I remember, I was going outside, missing so much care and love that I would go to a doorpost, stay there every day, and everyone passing by, I used to ask, hey, excuse me, do you have a mom? My mom is not with me, is in Sao Paulo. So much every day that the people complain to my grandmother, what is going on with this child? My grandmother was an ignorant person and with lots of children on her own, not married, just living as a de facto with someone that I never met. Probably he left her and was living who his original wife. He was married with another lady. So from that moment, I understood that something was missing. But I wanted to tell you something. There is always hope. When you figure out what triggers you to do things that you do not like, don't understand, or your parenting is not appropriate, you are either a very permissive parent, remembering how much you suffer when you had to do something that your mom didn't like it. I remember my time when my mom used to spank me quite a few times, especially when we're doing homework. I hated homework, especially timetables. And I became traumatic about maths, which I carry along through a very, very further time in the future. But when you find the trigger, you have to tell yourself that you are not like that. I have two friends. One was extremely permissive, and the other one was an extremely cautious, controlling. So these two parts were absolutely hard for the children because it was so hard. The child could never play, and the other one would play too much. So please find this center. Find your center. Find your forgiveness and say, it was not my fault. I did not want that. I forgive them, but I want to build up a better life for my child or children. And this is why I wish you that you find your center, find yourself, forgive the ones who hurt you, and embark to building up your child with a very strong emotional intelligence for a future life of success. Hi, if you like my content, say something beautiful to encourage me. I love encouragement. And send me some information. What struggles do you face with your children or with yourself? This Milka Arts and Crafts. And I wish you all the best. Bye.